So how do we put this all together and how to avoid traps that can cause failures? So simply you need a system. Let's talk about what you think the pitfalls are. People worry they are going to fail because they don't know enough math or pick the wrong DB or don't use enough fancy buzzwords. So you worry I feel from being like any kind of excuse, but that's clearly not an issue. The real pitfalls are the ones uh, you can see over and again. So running out of time, communicating poorly, and solving the wrong problem. A system. The way we defend against all three is having a system, a structure, and a repeatable framework that we can rely on no matter what questions they throw at us. It will keep us on track and force us to be clear and ensure that we are solving the right problem. So here it is. For most roles, it's a five-step process. One would be align to the problem, draw the big picture. Three is talk about data, and four talk about modeling, and five, if you have time, deployment and ops. For very senior roles, there is a six steps. If you do all that, then the interviewer will expect you to do a deep dive into one specific area to prove your T-shirt engineer. So you have a broad knowledge, but to have a deep expertise in at least one. And for the rules of engagement, rule number one is always say why. Never just state a technique. And if you say I'll use one content coding, your brain should immediately fire up the follow-up because the number of categories is small and it has to be a reflex. For rule number two, assume shared understanding. So don't school the interview. I've been doing this. People are doing this for a long time, so they know what real call is. You don't explain to me something unless they ask. So if they ask, it's a hint. It means they are looking for a signal you haven't given them yet. So assume you know the basics. Think in trade-offs. Almost nothing has one right answer, so if you see two possible paths, name them both and talk about pros and cons of each for the specific problem. Then make a choice and justify it. So this is a great signal. You are the driver in the interview, so you're in driver's seat. Don't just sit there and ask the interview questions or make assumptions. Like I'm going to assume we have million users. You're assuming you're starting English only and turn them. And does that sound okay, reasonable? So it will show confidence and move you forward. Make your own life easier. So don't boil the ocean. Don't start trying 200 solve 200 languages right away. Start with one and let the interviewer be one to add complexity. So your job is to get simple, bulky system on board first. Write it down. So your assumptions, decisions, and the diagrams, everything I can tell many times. There should be a reason feedback at later in the day. Interview is in the morning, so if there is not a whiteboard, it didn't happen. So your memory is fallible. Interviewer memory is fallible, so whiteboard, you are curious some truth. Core of the problem is finding the trick. Every problem has one, and that's one thing that makes this problem hard. Is it scale, real-time data, lack of labels, and your job is to identify the core challenge. So rule number 8 is don't chase all the interesting edge cases and want to explore them. Uh, but at first, get the main highway built before you start paving inside roads. So focus on the core problem. You're especially smart, senior, don't chase these cases. That's the strategy, and good luck.